Hello. Okay, everybody's coming on. I'm running just a few minutes late. I was trying to figure out the Facebook Live, and I couldn't figure it out, so I did YouTube Live instead, is what I did. Okay, so you can find me on YouTube. Now my face is getting cut off here. Let's turn this thing up here a little bit. All right, there you are. All right, so welcome. All right, so it's Monday night. It's the Monday night weekly webinar. Tell me who's been here before and who is like a complete newbie, who owns storage facilities, who doesn't own storage facilities, who is a student here as well too. If you're a student, then go ahead and just put your student here. Put that you're a student here. Okay, so my name, for everybody here that has not met me before, my name is Stacy Rossetti. And I teach people how to invest in self-storage, and we own storage facilities as well too. And we just bought our 9th facility this past week. Woohoo! I'm so excited. It took forever to close on that sucker. Title issues out the wazoo, but we finally closed on that one, and now we're closing. We have 2 more that we're closing on here in the next couple of weeks. I'm so excited. That'll bring us to over 1,300 doors. All right, 1,300 doors. So how many doors do you have? The truth of the matter is that in the storage investing world, like, you don't ask how many doors do you have. Instead, you ask how much total square footage that you have. How much total square footage do you have? So if you want to be a storage nerd, you got to learn the lingo, right? Now, kind of, sort of, I can give you a guesstimate of how to figure that out, right? I said right now, I have 9 facilities, all right, roughly. I guess, let's see, let's count them up. Let's see what we got, all right? So number 1 is, I don't even know my storage square footage. I mean, the more that you buy, the more confusing it gets, right? So, but the first one that we got was 125 units. Okay, we're going to just go this way. I'll show you how to calculate everything. This is number 1. Number 2 was, and actually, let me do this. I'll do this as Fayetteville. My second one was Noonan. And that one was, let's see. Actually, I'll put this down. This was 64 units. And the rest is like, I guess 64, let's say, is that 64 or what? Parking or 60? Let's do 60 parking. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then we have this one, Noonan, is 60 units and 15 parking. This is the one I wanted to talk about today. We're going to talk about my Noonan one, okay? This one also, this is on 3 acres, right? This is all like very important information, y'all. Very important. This is on 3 acres. I'm gonna try to give you all an idea how to look at your deals, like, like a what is it, 50,000 foot overview. The 60 units is 60 units plus 15 parking is on 5 acres, right? And y'all can tell me which one y'all think is the best. I don't know. Y'all tell me. And number 3, which one y'all would be interested in the most? Number 3 was Fairburn. And this one is 60 units plus a commercial building that we make about $1,500 a month on income. Okay. So it's the units plus a building. It's actually a mechanic shop. We own a mechanic shop is what we do, right? So he's like, you never know what you're going to get into when you start getting into storage. The Fayetteville one, we park big rigs, right? For big rigs. And the Noonan one, we park boat and RV plus units. This one, we got a commercial property. All right. Number 4 is Franklin. And this one was 60 units. Okay, 60 units. And this one is, we forgot to put this down, 60 units. This is just units, not parking. I did that. Okay, that's just units. Franklin's just units. And let's see what else I got. Number 5 is, I can't remember my storage facilities. That's horrible. Let me pull up Miss Lillian's and look at my website. .com. Y'all could go to misslillians.com to check us out. I wonder if our new facility's on here. No, it's not on here yet. Okay, we just closed on that one last week, so it's still not on here. Okay, Ball Ground, Black Shear, Valdosta, Warm Springs was the next one. Warm Springs. And this one has 60 units. That's it, just 60 units, okay? And then we had number 6 is let's do Ball Ground. Is 76 units. And then number 7 is Valdosta. It's 120 units. And then number 8 is Black Shear. We always just go by the name of our like the city, the town that it's in. Black Shear is it's like, I guess it's like 70, maybe it's like 70. It's like 70 units. And then like 10 parking spaces. Okay, something like that. Number 9 is now the Live Oak. And it is it's 100 units. Okay, no parking. Okay, and then we have now number 10 and number 11 coming up, which is Live Oak. These are pending. And this is Live Oak. This is America's. And this one is like this is 60 units. And this one is 120 units. So plus parking. Okay, and actually this one's on 2 acres. Let's put that down. This one has no, this is like 1 acre, so there's no space to grow. This one has no space to grow. It's on like 2 acres. No, it's like 1 acre. No, 1 acre. Yeah, it's like a 1 acre lot. Blackberry is on like, it's like a 2 acre lot. So there's a little bit room to grow. So 2 acres, 1 acre. Valdosta, no room to grow, 1 acre. Ball Ground is 76 units, 1 acre. Okay. Warm Springs is like 1 acre. And Fairburn is like 1 acre. It's like that is all 1 acre. All right, that's 5 acres. Okay. So that's what we've got. It's kind of hard to read, but I'm going to just go over this so y'all can get an idea. Now, notice I have 125 units on 3 acres. Right? But this one has a lot of parking. There's no room to grow on this. There's no room at all to grow on. So even though it has 125 units, right? Because when I think of 125 units on 3 acres, there should be a lot of space to grow, right? Because me personally, for just units, you have like on average 100 units per acre. Let's say like ballparkish. Now, if they're like super huge, big units, like America's right here, it's on a 1 acre lot. It's 10,000 square feet. Actually, we could do that too. 10,000 square feet. This one, I'll guesstimate the square feet on all of them. 10K on 1 acre. Okay. So usually you can fit 10,000 square feet on an acre. Average. Now, this one has 60 units in 10,000 square feet. What does that tell you? That tells you that those units are like huge. All right. Those are big units because he's got some 10 by 30s. He's got a lot of really big units. I think a lot of units are like 10 by 30s. Right. So Americus has 60 units on 10 acres. Live Oak has 120 units on 2 acres. So when you hear that, just hearing that, I know that if you have 2 acres, now if it's like some weird like shaped, like L-shaped or diamond or crisscross applesauce or whatever, then obviously this is not going to work. But no, most storage facility pieces of property that you buy are going to be like rectangles or maybe like diamond shapes. Like one that we're looking at right now, we're buying is like a diamond shape. But like, you know, most of them typical shapes, but every once in a while you get some weird shape, right? So this 120 units is on 2 acres. To me, when I hear that, I think that you should be able to have at least 200 units on that acreage, right? On that acreage. All right. So you look at like this piece of property, like the live oak one. Essentially, this is 2 acres, and it looks like this. This is what it looks like, essentially. There's room to put over here, and there's room to put over here, some units. Like, it's just a big piece of property, and they just went like, you know what, I'm going to put these right in the middle. You know, like, I don't know what they were thinking, but that's just how it is, right? So I kind of just know that, like, on average, if your surveyor and your civil engineer know what they're doing, they can get 200 units on acre. For most of the time. Every once in a while you get some weird one. Like right now we're buying one that looks like this. One of my students is buying one, and I'm going to help him buy it. And it's like, looks like that. All right. So obviously, now this is 5 acres. All right. Now he already got like 200. This one has like 200 acres. 200 units. Right there, 200 units, and they got all this property over there. It's such a good deal. But so like, you know, so obviously, you know, I don't think you're going to put 500 units there, right? You know, so if it's like a weird shape, then it's not going to fit that way. But typically a rectangle shape, I always say 2 acres, 200 units, right? Something like that. Y'all can yell at me in the comments if y'all think I'm wrong, okay? But so because sometimes there's a storage facility owners on there, they're like, whatever. But okay. So now we have this one. This is the parking. This is the big rig parking. Right? We park big rigs, right? So we park like tow trucks and dump trucks and stuff like that one. So obviously you need a lot of space for that, right? So the storage facility, 60 units or whatever, it only takes up like, you know, not even an acre of land. And all the big rigs and all the space that they need to drive around and park and stuff, that's taking the other 2.5 acres up. Right? And those parking spaces have to be 60 by 10. 60 by 10 is what they have to be. All right. In the parking world, right? You have to think about like your parking and how you want to park, but you're going to do like a 60 by 10. Oops, is that 60 by 10? Here's how do you do 60 by 10? And 60 by 10, right? So it's that long, that wide, right? Or sometimes, or like in a boat and RV place, you may need to be like 60 by 12. We saw, but we were up in the Hiawassee area this weekend. And of course, we were driving around looking for storage facilities. And I found a boat and RV storage facility. It was like so beautiful. It was like, I want that one right there. And it was like just all like probably on a 3-acre lot, and it was just covered boat and RV storage. And their lots, their spaces had to be like 12 to 15 feet wide, because those RVs parking in there had so much space. You could get those big ass huge, like, you know, Class A motorhomes in there, and guess what? That's what they were parking. So big, huge Class A motorhomes. You need a lot of space to do that, right? But, you know, and I want to go in. I think it was like Blairsville RV storage or something. I'm not sure. I got to look it up. But I was like, I'm going to go and see. I'm going to figure out what they're charging for those spaces. You know, that would be a good thing to do when you start driving around and looking for storage. Look at them, like literally look at them. And it's like, how much space are they taking up? Right? How much space am I going to need to do to the vision that I have? Because everyone's like, I'm going to buy storage, but it's like visually, what are you imagining and how much space are you going to need? That is the purpose of today's coaching session. Okay. All right. So how much space do we need to do what we want to do, right? Okay, so that's Fayetteville. Noonan has 5 acres and it has 60 units on it and 15 parking spaces. This 60 units, 15 parking spaces is probably taking like an acre and a half up. There is a lot of land there. And guess what? It's all cleared and all like ready to be built on. And so this is going to be our next project is to build on that and to expand that. And we're not 100% sure if we're going to add boat and RV parking or units, because we are full in the area with both spaces. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a feasibility study and really look at the area and say what is called for in this area, right? And try to figure out what we do. But anyway, so this is our next project, is the Noonan one. Fairburn is like literally like the most perfect 1 acre lot you can imagine. Fairburn is like this. Fairburn's like that, okay? And he has like one big building right here, and then he has another building right here. That's 60 units of parking. 60 units of storage right there. And then there's a building right here that is like a mechanic. That's a mechanic spot. And actually that whole mechanic spot kind of takes up really this much space. It really does. Now he makes $1,500. We make $1,500 a month on that is what we make. So at one point we were like, okay, should we get rid of that thing and just put like more buildings up or whatever? But for now, I mean, the guy's been there for like 10 years and he pays money. So we're just going to keep it the way it is. All right. But this is the perfect 1 acre lot. Right. So obviously, since this is 60 right here, you could definitely put at least another 40 there. You could put 2 buildings of 20 or something in there. So the question is, should I like get rid of this mechanic place and put 2 buildings of 20 each, or should I just leave it, So, for us, that's not like a big priority because we're already making money on it. Maybe later down the road, what'd y'all do? Y'all tell me in the comments, keep it the way it is, or like tear that sucker down and put up some buildings. Okay. Franklin has 60 units on a 1 acre lot. It's kind of a weird kind of shaped lot, but not really too bad. You can't it's a little bit less than 1 acre. He didn't really plan this lot out very well. It's kind of like that. That's what the lot looks like, honestly. So he has like here, I guess he just had that. He had the lot like this. It's kind of what it is. And I think he has one like that. And it's like 60 units. Okay. So that's like almost an acre, but it's like kind of weird. Like I said, it's weird shape. So can't really put 100 units on it. Right. Okay. Now, if it came down like this, right, and actually came down to the way it should be, then obviously you could put another 40 units there. Right. But it's like not quite there. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Let me know if y'all are confused. All right. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that you got to start really looking at the storage facilities. All right. So not just like driving by and be like, oh, there's a storage facility. All right. But like looking at them. And I teach this when I do my infield training. I teach this as well, which is you can also, when you look at the buildings, you can also look at them. You can tell what sizes they are just by looking at the building. Are they 10 by 10s? Are they 10 by 20s? Or are they 10 by 30s? Or are they 10 by 40s? Right? If they're 10 by 40s, then essentially those are 2 10 by 20 spaces right next to each other. Otherwise, so you'll see like skinny buildings and a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, a little bigger. And then that is how you kind of tell what sizes they are. Right? You can tell visually by looking at a storage facility what size the units are. You don't have to sit there and wait for the owner to tell you. I can drive up to a storage facility and look at it, count how many doors, look at the size and just guesstimate and look at the size of the acreage, right? And guesstimate how many units are there and what the property is worth just by looking and analyzing that facility. All right. Making sense? Okay. Warm Springs is like, I think actually Warm Springs is like a half acre. It's like a little tiny thing. I picked this thing up for $100,000. This one. And it's literally just like, it's a square is what it is. It's Warm Springs. And then there's room to grow. There's one building here, one building here, one building here, one building here. Actually, it's probably a little bit bigger because there's one more space for a building. I don't know why they didn't put the building there, but like they just didn't. Maybe they thought they were going to do some parking or something. But essentially it's 4 buildings and it's 60 units, but that's the space. I think it's about a half acre. I'm guessing it's about a half acre. Okay. So as you can see, 60 units fits on a half acre if you do it right. Right. Ball ground. Ball ground is also like your typical storage facility, right? I know a lot of people have done the infill training day with me. Y'all have been to this one because I take y'all to this one. But ball ground looks like this. This is what it looks like. It's 76 units. That's what it looks like. 76 units, right? Almost 1 acre. Almost 1 acre. I think it's like 0.93. And they probably could have made it a little bit longer and stuff, but they just they didn't take up the entire space. Okay. But as you can see, like it's 76 units on this piece of plot right here. Okay. 76 units. And actually, these are 76. This is 76 10 by 10 units. So if it's 76 10 by 10 units, it's 7,600 square feet, right? So we already know that, right? So you can look at it. Let's see, what else? Okay, next one. Valdosta is 120 units on 1 acre. 120 units on 1 acre? That's what I'm saying. It's like once you start buying them and you look at the land, like I was talking to one of my coaching students today, and he has a storage facility he's trying to get under contract. And I was like, what's the acreage? What's the total amount of acreage? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, you have to know this. You have to look at the land and how the land is laid out. Where's the storage facility? How much space it is. Okay. So Valdosta is basically a square. It's a 1 acre lot. And it's got one here, 1 unit here, 1 unit here, and then 1 unit here. This is like the most perfect acre that you could ever have, right? I saw another one. I saw a 2 acre lot. And that's what got me started to thinking about this was I found a facility that was 2 acres. I looked it up on Landglide and it was 2 acres and it was just like a square, like I guess like maybe a rectangle is what it was. And it had 200 units on it because I went around and drove and counted every single unit. And I looked at the facility and I looked at it and I counted them and I figured out it's like basically it was like 20,000 square feet. And it was like on a 2 acre lot and it was 200 units, right? So that's kind of was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Like if I actually look at these buildings, I can kind of tell what it's, what it's worth, what it's valued at, what it's like, how big it is. Right. So what I'm saying is that if you really start looking at your facilities, all right, and start thinking about what you need in order to analyze a deal, which I'm telling you right now, what you need to analyze your deal is you need to know, right, the total land size, right? You need to know the total square footage. You need to know your total units, right? Those are the 3 things that we're talking about right now. You can see those by just looking. And like maybe the first or second or third time you do it, you're like, maybe I'm going to guess or whatever. But then after a while, you just start like guessing. You just know, right? I can just look at it and know. And you need, let's see what else we're going over because I'll make sure I'll go over these one at a time. Yeah. You need the unit mix, right? We have this unit mix, right? What's the units? What's the parking, right? How big is the parking, right? Like I said, on this one here, right? 60 by 10. Now, if you have a facility that you want to do parking on and you only want to park cars. Now, I really don't recommend parking cars, honestly, because like all the people that park cars, they just pain in the asses. But like if you want to park cars, okay? But you don't need that much space. All right, you need less space so you can put more cars in, but then you just have like double the trouble because it's more tenants, right? So 30 by 10, right? It's like a typical car parking lot, maybe 20 by, you could even maybe do like 20 by 10, but most times like 30 by 10. When you start going to like storage websites and looking at their websites, look to see what sizes they have of their parking lots and parking facilities and stuff, because they'll give you an idea, especially when you're analyzing your deals, like, okay, I have X amount of space. What can I park here? What does the market call for? Number one, but number two, based on the space I have, what can I park? All right. A typical car is 30 by 10. And then like a big rig or an RV is usually 60 by 10. And those RVs, like I got an RV. Our RV is 40 feet long. And I'm like, we need some space to think that. Now Pete's really good at backing those things in, so maybe 10 feet is okay. But like, we just need a really long space. And a lot of places do not even offer that. And in fact, even RV parks, they ask you, how much space do you need when you call them up? Like how much, how long is it? Because they want to make sure that they have, enough space. So it's the same thing with you. Like how long is this thing, right? So 60 by 12. Or you could do like parking that's like 50 by 12. 50 by 10 or 50 by 12, 40 by 10, 40 by 12, right? So you can figure that out. Sometimes if you're like this Blairsville one that I saw, it's like 60 by 15. That's a nice ass parking spot. I bet you he charges at least $150 a month for that thing. At least, if not more, so that's kind of how you look at the parking, right? So I just wanted to give you all an idea. So you can figure that out when you're looking at your facilities, you're analyzing, because you're not only analyzing the units themselves, you're analyzing the entire land and how much space you can use to either put more units, if that's what the market calls for, or put parking, right? And parking, you could park cars like this. And it's like uncovered parking. We have this at one of our facilities. We have cars that are unparking, but they just pains in the butts. I highly recommend not doing car parking. Boat, RV, and because a lot of times those cars are just like dumpy cars. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like whatever, and they just park and then they forget about it, or they're like working on their cars and stuff. It's just so annoying. So if you have a choice, I would say do not park cars. But boat, RVs, and big rigs, not highly recommend. Those are good cash cows. Okay. So ball ground, we talked about Valdosta. So that's what I was pointing out, is that this is like, you can get 120 units on this. It's about 12,000 square feet. It's right around 12,000 square feet. You can get 120 units on a 1 acre lot. The one that I'm buying right here, Live Oak, is 120 units on a 2 acre lot. So I know when I hear that there's space to grow, right? Now it could be wooded, but then you have to clear it and stuff. But a lot of times, like this one here is like totally clear. I could just throw some units up. Blackshear is 70 units and 10 parking spaces. Okay, so now y'all tell me what y'all think about this one. It's on a 2 acre lot. Blackshear, let's see what I'm doing. Blackshear looks like this. Blackshear is like a long rectangle. And it's got one long unit here, just like this, with like a whole bunch of units. And then it's got like one short unit like that. That's basically what it looks like. And then it's got like all this space that he uses for like supposedly like parking. All right. And it's got like a huge space right here. And this building right here, this one is kind of older. I think basically what happened was that he probably started with this one back in the day. It's looking pretty rough. And then he was like, all right, I got all this land. Let me add this another new building. This one's like newer. All right. So my idea, and then this is like where the parking goes, right? But he doesn't really have a lot of, he didn't really have a lot of parking when we bought it. Now we're full. But me and Pete's idea, y'all tell me what y'all think, is essentially just get rid of this and get rid of the parking and just do units. And actually, I think if we got rid of this and this, we could probably put like a whole nother unit right here and then also like a whole nother unit right there, right? So it's a 2-acre lot, and then we could really kind of expand it here and then just get rid of the parking, right? So that's what we're considering, but we're not at that project yet. That's like a project down the road that we're doing. As of right now, we just have units here and then parking is what we're doing. That's the thing too, is like if you buy a piece of property and it's like, oh, I got all this land, and then I'm like, well, I ain't doing nothing with it. You might as well just throw some parking up. So what we do is we just go to our website and add parking. And then he just puts like railroad ties and he puts like a number on, essentially we have like a number on the fence for the parking spot and then like railroad ties. And then they know that's their spot to park in. And this is, I mean, you could get like huge, just a lot of space. So you could get a lot of like, you could get probably like, I don't know if you get like 60-foot RVs in, but you could probably get, our travel trailer could definitely get in there. And that's a 40-foot travel trailer to park in there. So that was our idea. Like when we bought it, he just wasn't utilizing the space at all. It's literally just a lot of land, just empty land. And so we were like, well, we're not going to put buildings up now. So let's just do parking. And then we just started doing the parking. But then later down the road, most likely we're going to just get rid of that and just add more buildings, right? As we get to the project. We don't do one project at a time, right? Because I'm the type of person like I just want to get that thing under contract and close. That's how it is. And then I'll work on fixing it up and doing what we need to do, like as we grow, really, as we grow. That's when we do everything. Okay. All right. So that's Valdosta, that's Blackshear. All right. And then the Live Oak one that we just closed on is it's a 1-acre lot. It's a 1-acre lot. It looks like this. Let me see if I'm getting this. Yeah. It looks like this. And then they have one building here, one building here, and one building here. Like that. And then they have like no building right here. And when we got there, we noticed that like the area right here is a little sunken in. So I'm not sure if we can even build there or not. But essentially it's like a 1-acre lot and it has 100 units on it. And that's how it looks like that. So like as I've been going through all these deals and like, seeing how everything looks, essentially now I have this way of looking at deals, right? In order to analyze them as I'm driving around, right? Because I drive for storage and I just talk to the owners. All right, so visually, I'm looking at the deal, right? So visually, I'm looking at how big, right, is how big are the facility buildings? All right, are they 10 by 10s, 10 by 20, 10 by 30, 10 by 40s? Right? So when I look at them, I want to know, like when I'm looking dead on at a building, right? How big is it? And as you like, kind of like, do like your proposals and stuff, you can look at it that way too. Like a 10 by 10 is super skinny and then they get bigger and bigger. All right. So I'm driving by and I'm looking and I'm saying, oh, that looks like a 10 by 20. That means it could either be a 10 by 20 in there or 2 10 by 10s. Hopefully there's more 10 by 10s than 10 by 20s because you get more money for 10 by 10s rather than 10 by 20s, right? As you get bigger, the price per square foot gets smaller. Okay. So that's number one, visually. Number two, I'm looking at the acreage. How big is the lot, right? How big is it? And what does it look like? What does the land look like? Like for instance, on the one that we just bought, there's like a little section that's kind of like sunken in. And so like we do and we look at the acreage, we look at it and we see how much space is there to grow, right? How much space is there to grow or not? And then also we're looking at like, if we don't think that we can put buildings there, can we put parking? So acreage versus parking. Now, a lot of times this is like what the market calls for, right? But sometimes it's like, I ain't got no money and I ain't going to spend any money. So I'm going to throw me some cars on there and just get some money for that, right? That's kind of how it looks like, right? So acreage versus parking. Number 3 is when I'm looking at the facility visually, I'm trying to determine, what the unit mix is, right? And so that's why I say you have to look at the building to determine. You have to count the doors essentially. So you say, okay, like it looks like there's 10 by 40s. Right? So this is a 10 by 40. There's 2 10 by 20s. Let me count the doors so I can see how many doors there are, right? How many doors? And then from there, from here to here, I can determine the total square footage of the facility, right? To determine the total square footage. Does that make sense? Please tell me if that makes sense, if y'all are getting this or not. Or I just put in the comments like I'm totally lost or that's making sense, okay? All right, so step 1 is like, how big are the buildings? Step 2 is like, how many doors are there so I can figure out what the square footage is, right? Because you got to have the total square foot. In storage facility deal analysis is all about square foot. Like I said, I was going to add mine up. That was the whole purpose, right? Okay. So we've got now 60, we got 125 units. I wonder, and when you say square footage, you can leave your parking out or you can like throw your parking in, or you can like do 2 different things, right? I kind of just throw mine in. I throw it all again, right? So if like I say, like we have like, we have like this many doors is what we have, right? So we have, let's see, this is about, let's say, 12,000 square feet, or you can count parking, I say. So 60 by 10s is, so 60 parking and 60, so 64 plus 6,000 is like 12,000, right? That's like 12,000. Right? And then so you just kind of calculate it that way. 60 by 60 and 15 parking spaces. So 60 units by 10, 6,000 square feet, right? You could add it up. 64 units is 6,400 square feet. 60 units, so 60 by 10, that's like 60 by 10. That's a 600 square foot place, isn't it? So 60 by 10 times 60, right? So it's 600 times 60, right? Does that make sense? 600 times 60 is that 3,600? No, it's 30. I can't tell. And y'all add that up for me. Y'all tell me. But anyways, it's parking versus units, okay? So the parking is a different square foot price versus the units. Parking here, so 15 times like 60 by 10, so 600 times 15, which is, I have no idea. Y'all can tell me if y'all want to tell me. All right, you see what I'm saying? So this is 6,000, 60 units, 6,000, right? This is 6,000. This is 76, so 7,600. You can just guesstimate, you know what I'm saying? Like just guesstimate. Now it's not 100%, because I have like some students are like, that's 11,263 square feet, right? Like, and my numbers, when I write my numbers, like, okay, that's at least like, what? Ooh, it's like storming here. 11,300 or something. But like a lot of people like to be like super exact. I get it to the penny. Okay, 120, so it's like 12,000 square feet. And then we've got 70 square feet, so 7,000 square feet. And then we've got 100, so it's 10,000 square feet. We got 10, 7, 12. So y'all can make 12,000, 17, 22, 23, 24, 35 plus 6 is what? 41, 46, no, 41, 47 plus 6 is like 52 plus 64 is 60. I don't know. I'm guessing is this 60,000 square feet? Maybe, I don't know. Y'all can tell me what I have. Y'all could add to that. But essentially what I'm saying is that just by kind of looking at the numbers, you can guesstimate the square foot. And then we have the parking as well. Everybody's always asking me how many, like, they're like, are you like, do you really know what you're doing? Like, how much square foot do you have? Like, a lot of people ask me that, like, how much square footage do you have? And I'm like, I don't know. All right, it's this right here. All right, so y'all can determine whether I know what I'm doing by looking at this. Okay, 60 parking spaces, 15 parking spaces, 10 parking spaces, plus a commercial building. All right, and all these units. That is what I have. All right, so whatever that equals up to, that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, so that's how do we do the deal analysis? Let's just at least list everything out so y'all kind of have an idea. Units, we got total land, total square footage, total units, total things. What we can't determine when we look at a facility, which is also very important in running commercial deal analysis, is vacancy. Vacancy. So you can't obviously say, now you can run your numbers based on 100% occupied, or what we usually do in the industry is 92% occupied, right? Because people are coming and going, so we always calculate like 8% vacant. But anyways, but just in case that facility is only 50% occupied, you're not going to know by just looking at it. You know what I'm saying? And then let's see what else. The purchase price. And also the utilities. These are really kind of like, this falls under expenses right here, expenses. And taxes and insurance. Taxes, insurance, utilities, purchase price, land, square foot, total units, unit mix, vacancy. All right, and then finally, you're going to need to do the competition. Okay, those are all the things that you need in order to run a real deal analysis. But just by looking at these things right here, these first things, all right, just by looking at these things, you could really say a lot about that facility. You could really tell a lot about the facility, and you could really run numbers on that, right? So you're going to have your cap rate calculator on your phone. Now you would have to base it on as an income producing property. But if you get really good at looking at the property and looking at how much value you can add to the property, then you can really just run a quick deal analysis. All right. So my tip to you is that when you're going out and looking at facilities, either by driving for storage, I mean, essentially you have to look at them, but driving for storage, looking at the pictures online, which is not a good way to look, all right, because they're too expensive. I just talked to one guy like right before the call, and he was like, I need to know if this is a good deal. It's 600 units and it's $9 million. I was like, oh my gosh, I have a student right now that's buying 600 units for $3 million. I was like, no, that's not a good deal. Is it 100% full? It would still not even be worth $6 million, $3 million, and $9 million. It'd be worth like $6 million, maybe 7 at the most, maybe even $9 million. No, that was on. That was like online. I'm telling you, all deals online. Like, it's hard to find a deal that's a good deal online. Okay, so I'm talking about from my perspective, which is driving for storage, talking to owners, talking to owners face to face, calling them up, talking to them, and getting them to like meet you. That's the way that I do my stuff. And on the types of deals that I buy, which is the smaller deals that are $1 million or less, that is honestly the best way to do it. I mean, if you want to buy a $9 million facility, go online, right? Because you have money to spend. All right. But we little people, we mom and pop shops, right? We like shopping around trying to find the best deals, All right. Somebody just smiled. What did they say? What's the E? What's plus 3 mean? Does that mean like, is that good? I hope that's good. All right. So anyway, so that is my tip, is to go out, drive for storage, and look at the facilities and try to determine how big it is, right? And try to determine what the total square footage is and how many doors it has, right? Just by looking at it. That is your homework. Can you figure out how big that facility is just by looking at it? All right. Because that is really going to help you determine all the other things that fit in, right? So for instance, like when I'm looking at this facility right here, right? This is the one that we got under contract on Friday. That's a good deal too. Oh my God, it's so good. I'm so excited. But anyways, this deal, it's like, how do I know what I can do here? How do I know? And I know just by seeing this, I could definitely add another couple hundred 100 units here, right? If it's like just no land, and then I could do maybe something in the middle, right, as well. So like you just kind of have to visually look at everything. Okay. So that is my tip to everybody, and that's my homework to you, is get out, talk to owners, drive for storage, and look and really try to train your brain on how to do deal analysis, how to look at storage facilities. Now, in the Storage Nerds coaching program, you will get my deal analyzer, and essentially all we do is run deal analysis. That's all we're doing, is just running deal analysis and looking at deals all the time. Tomorrow we have our group coaching session. I'm so excited. I haven't even announced this to the students yet, but we have one of my students that got into the coaching program in March. He already owns 2 facilities, 2. The first one he bought for $1 million. He put $200,000 down. My lender lent him the rest of the money, because once you join my coaching program, you get access to my lenders. So he put 200 of his own money down, and my lender came up with 800 grand, and then he lent it to him as debt. All right. And the second deal, I'm so happy for him. That was a brand new construction deal that is he's leasing it up right now, and he's going to sell it once it's leased up. So once it gets to be 100% full, because it was a brand new construction, once it gets to be 100% full, that thing is worth $1.8 million, and he's just selling it. So he'll make 800 grand on that deal, and all he had to do was put 200 grand into it. Okay. So that's the first deal. He's going to talk about that tomorrow, how he found it, how he funded it, how he's running it and managing it. Like, he just bought that thing. So he's like he's still in the like, the automation and systematizing stuff. And he's like, I've had coaching calls with him. He's like, okay, now what do I do? Helped him get stuff on storage and all kinds of stuff. And then he's also talking about the second deal that he just closed on, right? Which is also a small deal. I think it's like 60 units. And he's in Texas, by the way, and 60 units. And he just went to a bank and got a loan. He put 20% down, and then he got the rest from a bank. So he's going to talk about both of those deals. So every Tuesday that we meet for our like mastermind coaching session, we always have one of the students coming in talking about their deal. And then we have another guy, his name's Lenny. And he is going to come and talk. He owns 4 storage facilities. He's not in the coaching program. He's been doing this for like a long time. He owns 4, and he's going to talk about how he found all his deals, how he funded them, how he's running and managing them. Right. And he's a really good friend of mine. So he's going to come in, and he wants to partner with my students. That's one of the reasons why he's coming into the group. He's like, look, I got money. I need more storage facilities. Is there any students here that would be in your coaching program to be interested in partnering? And I was like, absolutely. Like, let's have you come into the group so you can introduce yourself to everybody, and let's get some deals done. Right. So, and then always in the 2-hour session that we have for the group coaching, the last 30 minutes, I do a case study on one of my deals. So tomorrow I'll be talking about the Noonan one, and I'll be going over like how we found it, how we funded it, how we're running it. And then also all the like adding on and all the new construction, and like how to go through all that phase to get all that. And so that's basically what the coaching session is. That's tomorrow. And then on Saturday and Sunday is my 2-day boot camp. And it's virtual, so you don't have to travel, but you can spend 2 whole days with me. And I'll talk about on Saturday morning, it's like finding them. All the different ways. There's 20 different ways that you can find storage facilities. Saturday afternoon is just commercial deal analysis. How do we run all the numbers and look at the deals to see if they're good deals, put them in the deal analyzer, case studies, and all this kind of stuff, right? Essentially, in the coaching program, the biggest thing that everybody always has is like, is this a good deal? Right? Is this a good deal? So that's what I'm here to help you with, is help you determine if it's a good deal or not, running the numbers and looking in the numbers. And we go through all the different ways to do that. And then on top of that, on Sunday morning, it's creative deal structuring. Once you get it under contract, we'll go over how to put it under contract, filling out the contract, putting the offer in, negotiating with the owners, right? How do you get them to owner finance it to you? Or how do you structure it so you don't have to put any money in the deal or very little money in the deal, right? That's how I do all my deals, is I'm just structuring them so that I don't have to put any money into the deal. And so that's what I teach on Sunday morning. And then in Sunday afternoon, we do wholesaling. How to wholesale self-storage, how to put a wholesaling package together on the commercial side. What are your buyers that are interested in buying your storage facilities looking for, and how do you package it, right? So we go through all that on Sunday afternoon. So that's the 2-day boot camp, right? So I wanted to just put that out there, that we only have until Friday, because the doors for Storage Nerds close on Friday. All right. And I am not letting any more people come into the coaching program until next year. All right. Because my job is to all the students that came into the coaching program, their job is to get storage facilities under contract, and for me to help them do that. Right. So for the next 90 days, that's my goal, is to help you get a storage facility under contract. And so the doors are only open until Friday. So I want to make sure, if you go to storagenerds.com, right? Storagenerds.com is the website, and set up an appointment with me so we can talk about whether or not this is a good fit for you. If you really are interested in buying self-storage, talk to me about it. All right. Talk to me. Storagenerds.com. Okay. Because this free webinar, this Monday night free webinar, this is only going to get you so far, because I only talk about how to find them. All right. I never get into deal analysis or anything like that. The next step is to get into the coaching program. Okay. That's where I'm going to be there to hold your hand, walk you through everything. All right. So any final questions on what I taught today? Any final questions? Put them into the chat. Okay, let me see here. Okay, good. Everybody's saying hi. I would leave the shop there. Okay, so people are saying I would leave the shop there. Leave it. Awesome. Eric says, in converting vacant space to truck, RV, and automotive parking, does one need to secure a permit? No, you don't have to have a permit for that. I mean, you might want to just check your area, but like, I've never had to do that. Now I'm in Georgia, and I'm in Florida, and Florida's actually Florida's more lax than Georgia, because we even called up in Florida, and like Pete was telling me, is like, he called up the city. He was like, yeah, we want to get a sign permit. And the guy was like, sign permit? Why do you need that? And he's like, okay, well, can we like add more units? He's like, yeah, go add units. Like, it's just like so lax over there. Now we're like, we're in the panhandle, so maybe different somewhere else in Florida. But I would check just to make sure. But like, I've never heard of you having to get a permit to park vehicles. Okay. Now to tow them or to auction them off, you have to go through a different process than the units. There's like a unit process and an automotive process, and it's a little bit trickier on the car side, right? It's a little, if you want to auction those things off, but yeah, no, for truck and RV and car parking, does the ground need to be paved? No. Every one of our facilities that I showed y'all, we got some grass, we got gravel, we got paved, we got dirt, we got it all. We got it all. Yeah. No. And generally, are sprinklers required on new built custom storage? Non-climate storage? No, not on non-climate. There's no sprinklers. I mean, at least not where we're from. Now, I don't know. That might be a city to city thing. Might be a state to, I mean, that's probably a city to city thing. It's hard to find out, but I've never heard of having to put sprinkler systems into storage facilities. It's basically just like a warehouse is what it is. What's the difference between your membership training program and mentoring? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like it costs $1,000 a month for the coaching program. It's a month-to-month membership. So I don't make you sign a year contract or anything like that. You can stay in as long as you want or as little as you want. Okay. But it is an investment, right? I'm going to be teaching you. I'm sweating right now. All right. I'm sweating for you. All right. So it costs a little bit to do that. And I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to be where I'm at. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. So it costs money for what's in this brain. What's the best way to find off-market deals? If you call the office, don't you get an office manager and not the owner? You need to talk to owners directly. That's what you need to do. Talk to the owners directly. Do not talk to the managers. Okay. I got here late today. Is this webinar on YouTube as a recording? Yeah, I'm actually doing live right now on YouTube. It's my first time live on YouTube. All right. So this is live on YouTube right now. So you could go watch the replay right after this. And Dara, no, the online $40 a month has nothing to do with Storage Nerds. That's REI USA. That's a whole different company. That's a whole different thing. All right. That's different. My coaching program is me holding your hand, taking you step by step by step. When you start freaking out, like when you're looking for deals right now and all the questions that are going on in your head, you get to turn to me and I get to tell you exactly what to do. That's the coaching program. You get to see me every single week if you want to, right? And talk to me. And the thing about Storage Nerds that's even better than that is that you don't get just me, you get my husband, but you also get like everybody in the community. I'm going to tell y'all, there are so many people doing deals. And on top of that, people are coming to me with deals. And then I just pass them on to my students. So for instance, like this diamond one right here, somebody called me up and he was like, hey, I got a storage facility I want to sell. It was in Michigan. And I was like, you know what? I got a student in Michigan. Let me call him up and see if he's interested. So he was like, yeah, I'm interested. So I got all the information and then we went over the entire deal. I showed him the deal. He went over and met the owner that next day and put the thing under contract. All right. So anytime and people are just calling, give me deals. If you want a deal, if you need a deal, I can help you. And then also we have wholesalers within the group that are wholesaling deals, right? And if you don't have any money and you're like, look, I want to get into storage, but I have no money, you need to learn how to wholesale. All right. And then you can wholesale your deal. Like I was talking about a deal there like a couple of weeks ago that we got it under contract for $600,000. We were wholesaling it for $700,000. I was making $100,000 on that deal. All right. That is what I'm talking about. That's Sunday afternoon. That's what we're going to be teaching. All right, is how to wholesale. And then you can take that $100,000, you can go and use it to buy a deal, to get a deal. All you need to do is wholesale 1 or 2 storage facilities and you can just be on your way. And I only, like people you're going to hear people in the industry and they're going to be like, small deals, you don't make any money on those, blah, 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 whatever. But the truth of the matter is that we are making a lot of money on our deals. All right. So there is nothing wrong with buying small facilities. I just got off like a conference where I did like a presentation on it. And the guy before me was talking about like, you should only be investing in class A, only in class A. Class B is good, but class A is better. And I'm like, he has no idea because all I do is I invest in class C stuff, right? And I'm making money on that. We're about to sell a deal and make $600,000 on it. The one that we just closed on, we're going to make like $1 million on that sucker in like the next couple of years. So, it's okay to do small deals. All right. There ain't nothing wrong with it. And then what we're going to do, like we're selling one facility right now where I bought it for $150,000. I'm selling it for $350,000. I'm going to make $200,000. And then my lender that gave me the $150,000, we're just putting that money together and we're going to roll that money over into the next deal. And that's a $350,000 down payment on a $1.2 million facility. So yeah, it's okay to start out slow and start out small, and then just over the next couple of years, build that thing up, sell it, and roll it to another one. All right. Let's see. I gotta go because I have a couple of calls, but I'll do a couple more things here. I still have 6 more coaching calls tonight. Okay. Hey, Stacy, how do you know what areas to drive for dollars to find deals? We can talk about that, Anthony, all Saturday morning at the boot camp. Okay. Because I know he just joined. So on Saturday morning, we're going to find out how to figure out which markets you should be in. Okay. And what does it mean to wholesale a deal? Wholesaling a deal means that you are the middle person between the buyer and the seller. You're the middle person. So your job as a wholesaler is to go out and find, your job as somebody that wants to invest in self-storage is to get out there and find the deals. All right. And if you find somebody that wants to sell, you can either buy it yourself, or you can put it under contract and wholesale it to somebody else, wholesale it to a buyer, and you get that cut in the middle. So basically, you're kind of like a broker. You're the broker between the buyer and the seller. That's what wholesaling is. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to head off to my coaching calls. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and hopefully y'all set some times with me and talk to me about this week, because this is a very important week. All right. All right. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good night.